clear, na?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So uh, now everything is clear, na?
Yes, yes. Your voice is
Okay.
clear. I think we all listen.
Okay. So first of all, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to Professor Rajesh and also his team for inviting me to speak something on this webinar. So thanks everyone, and I will speak on gender equality on the topic crime against women with special reference to Manipur.
Sure, sure.
Okay, before I start, let me just read out the introductory part.
Yeah,
Gender equality and empowerment of women is when people of all genders have equal rights, responsibilities, and opportunities. Everyone is affected by gender inequality: women, men, trans, and gender diverse people, children, and families. Ending all discrimination against women and girls is not only a basic human right, it's crucial for sustainable future. It's proven that empowering women and girls help economic growth and development. Violence against women has been and continues to be one of the most widely pervasive phenomena over the history of humankind, cutting across all boundaries of history, geography, and politics. Occurring in every continent, country, and culture, it leads to demonition, domination over the discrimination against women, thereby impacting families, communities, and the nation at large. Violence against women is both the means and cause of women's subordination. Violence against women has been defined as any act of gender-based violence that results in or is likely to result in physical, sexual, or psychological harm or suffering to women, including threats of such act, coercion, or arbitrary deprivation of liberty, whether occurring in public or in private life. Thus, it is not limited to physical aggression, but extend to threat of aggression, mental torture, sexual abuse, as well as economic abuse. Efforts to curtail various forms of domestic violence have been made in India on a piecemeal basis right from 1961, when the Dowry Prohibition Act was enacted. In 1983, Section 498A was inserted into the penal code to make cruelty to wife a criminal offense. Cruelty included physical and mental cruelty as well as harassment of a woman. However, it was only in 2005 that a full-fledged law came into force in the shape of the Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act 2005. So I'll just come to the point: crime against women in Manipur. As per the National Crime Bureau reports, women suffer different types of crime for every minute in the country. Manipuri women also did not escape from the crime. Several number of crimes were witnessed against women in Manipur. According to a report of the National Family Health Survey 2005 to 2006, conducted in 22 states of India, Manipur stand third place with a record of 43.9% in the rate of domestic violence against women. Rajasthan record 46.3% as Madhya Pradesh 45.8% and placed in the first and second respectively. As per report of Government of Manipur 2006, between 1999 and 2006, there were 1,206 crimes against women of Manipur. 102 cases of rape, 391 kidnapping, and 114 cases of molestation. The state is the state is witnessing an increased number of sex workers as a means of survival for their families. Sitting on the pretext of marriage proposal and cheating on employment, various types of verbal, sexual harassment, abuse of women, including teasing, are common examples of crime occur in the state. So I'll just read out the data of violence against women as per record from local newspaper from January 2005 to 2016 August. Rape case from 2005 to 2016, it was 229. And rape and murder, it was 41 number. And suicide, 135. Murder, 154. Rape attempt and molestation, 77. Burn, 18. Assault injury, 380. Kidnap, 36. Threat, 6. Missing, 490. Abandoned, 15. Complaint, 135. Trafficking, 47. Cybercrime, 7. And forced abortion, 1. So these are the figure reported in the newspaper since 2005 to August 2016. So as a remedial measure and solution to some extent, I would like to suggest some of the following suggest some of the measures for any recommendation. Education for a man and woman is equally required. Preferably, moral education should be a compulsory subject. And number 2, awareness program is required for both men and women on protection of women and human rights. And number 3, adequate opportunity for employment in social, political, and economic sector. And number 4, equal remuneration both for male and female. And number 5, strong government statutory body with better infrastructure to reach out to the needy and the masses. These are some of the suggestions I would like to suggest so that any policy planner Matthew, so that any policy planner can also take up measure for their solution. So with these few words, I would like to conclude my presentation. So once again, thank you all, and also to all the participants. Thank you.
Thank you, Akansha.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much for enriching our knowledge in the field of gender and development. Now, I would request to Professor Rajesh to share his views.
Professor Purnima Jain, Dr. Lamalu,
Yes.
I will give more time to questions because you are here the guest. I will speak just for 5 minutes or so, not more than that. Because as a regular teacher, we used to speak always with our scholars. And here, at the opportunity that you are here, and what I considered this COVID-19, certainly it is a curse, but it is a boon in a sense that through media, through technology, we can reach to Manipur, we can reach to Agra, we can reach to any place in the world through the technology. So it is a boon in the sense also. While there is a paper introduced in our lifelong learning, that is gender and development, and this is an open paper which not only the students of our department but other departments students can also take up. We considered that gender and development issue, that with the background, with the data, you have presented the things. So far as this aspect is concerned, you were very right to say that since the beginning, uh, gender aspect, especially in lifelong learning, in the global discourse, it has become a very, very pertinent and important aspect. When I was participating in the government of India also for the new education policy, and that was talking about what should be the response from National Literacy Mission side. Then it was coming that our focus should be on rural area, women, the marginalized population, and the policy talks about socio-economic vehicle section and disadvantaged section. Madam Professor Purnima talked about the third gender also. In the morning, I was addressing for 2 hours district level elected representatives of Odisha on Transgender Act 2019 in detail from 11 to 1, where a member for National Council for Transgender from Odisha was also participating. As far as the lifelong learning is concerned, uh, through the Population Education Resource Center, when University Grants Commission and United Nations Fund for Population Activity Program, at that time, we had a gender issue, a very important component. And Professor Purnima also referred about the ILO decent employment opportunity. I used to share that when in India, the South Asian representative of ILO had the program of decent employment opportunities in India with the help of voluntary organization. Several programs of the economically weaker sections of women were demonstrated in Delhi before the ILO chief, and I was coordinating the things, you see. So what is there in the gender development, that you have given the data that in all the sectors, maybe literacy, maybe in the gender development index, maybe in the economic participation, maybe their representation in parliament, which is pending for 33% reservation. And we wait that when parliament will pass, at least in Panchayati Raj, I hope there are 33% percent representation of women. So when we talk about the women's participation in all the areas, about the women's participation and third gender kind of a thing, what is the important that you also focused about the women of the unorganized and informal sector, which even the Niti Aayog talks about, talks about that, they call it 86%, but in the economic data, it is 92, 93% of the women in the unorganized sector, who are nearly 52 to 53% in the agriculture workforce, as the women representation. They are working, but their condition, in spite of the workforce, so far as wages are concerned, so far as their dignity is concerned, so far as their marginalization concerned, the unorganized sector, women, those who are domestic sector, Dr. Lamalu was talking about the violence, domestic violence, with special reference to northeast area. It was said that since there is no organization, there is no system, they suffer in terms of their health, they suffered in terms of reproductive child health. You added, they suffered in terms of their education, their employability, their children malnutrition, maternal mortality, infant mortality, all kind of things are women. On the one hand, in our mythology, we call them female goddess are there. All many goddesses are there in, female goddesses. We can count on Saraswati, Durga, Lakshmi, Parvati, Kali, whatever, a lot many things. But so far as in practice is concerned, we continue to practice by and large in most of the country, except a few, a patriarchal system. And it is the patriarchal system that affects the gender inequality concerns. And recently, we all are aware that Supreme Court has taken a decision to give the property right to women, even the married girls or women. We all know that at least earlier also effort was there, but this is also, came that the women will be there. I have seen in Uttar Pradesh also that the transgender will also get their property right in the family. And today I talked to the government also to kindly do it at a national level. So they continue to suffer on these count, and the lifelong learning concern. They have to play a very important role in a sense that role of lifelong learning in gender mainstreaming is very, very important. Gender entity for gender equality, it is called a socialization process. It is a socialization process and attributed to social relationship of men, female, women, or maybe the third gender or the transgender we call it. Gender is a part of a broader socio-economic process and is a part of mainstreaming global process accepted in socio-economic context, say, and UNESCO calls it a mainstreaming a gender perspective reflected in the policies and programs of the various which you also quoted at the global level, that sustainable social development program, various goals talk about the equity, of women, and it is said that even 100% literacy for all genders by 2030, 35, it calls about. We have also seen the efforts of the government of having the self-help groups for women, microcredit programs, and several examples, like example of Lijjat Papar, examples of Odisha's tribal development through the microcredit or self-help groups, other parts of the country also, that how women's empowerment program can be there. We have seen the programs in Delhi NCR, Istri Sasaktikaran, women's empowerment program, where for 15 years, lot many activities or programs were there as a part of Samajik Suvidha Sangh, as part of a kind of a social empowerment where women was a focus of that kind of a thing. And today we have had a lot many programs for women that we talk about. Today we talk about Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao Abhiyan, that in 2015 the government talks about. We have a program of women helpline separately. We have a program of Ujala where victims of the trafficking, victims of sex workers can be given a justice kind of a thing. Working women's hostel was already proposed and established in various parts of the country. It started in 1990, 1992, 93. A CRESS program for working women, for the children also, that was established. I seen in several colleges also there are CRESS for women, for the children who are the working women in the organized sector. At least that facility is there. There is a research program of support to women and training and employment program. That support program was there in the IMPRESS research program and the other research program. That kind of things are being focused. The University Grants Commission in various programs like lifelong learning and other things, there is a gender development program. Still it is continued. I think your university might also have a women's development centers. So University Grant Commission in the various plans were supporting or are supporting the what you call women's development programs, and which are running gender sensitization program and also looking after the gender condition, women's condition in the workplace. And there is a sexual harassment committee at the several workplace. It is mandatory under the Visakha judgment kind of a theme of the Supreme Court. And lot many efforts are there in the policies and programs at the global level. The Millennium Development Goals you have talked about, in the sustainable social development you talked about. the various programs like Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao Abhiyan, and all these programs are already, there in the new education policy also, or the Transgender Act 2019 also. It is the gender that is in focus. So now all these policies and programs, how this can be, given a right direction, and how they can get a meaningful place in the society, depend upon how much we cater, especially, Madam, the Lifelong Learning Institute departments have a very major role to play. You have cited that how your respective departments are doing. We have also worked in the for the vulnerable women. We have also run community learning centers for the sex workers in Delhi, where our students, research scholar, international delegations have visited. We have run helpline centers for counseling centers for the women, adolescent girls, which was very successful. 150 calls reaching every day, getting the University Grants Commission letter that it is a good effort that must be further intensified. But all these things are not sufficient. The national or international efforts are there. Lifelong Learning Institute, through the gender and development, must try to cater the needs of unorganized and informal sector women of the various vocational or skill oriented program that some of you have cited. We must try to provide them a digital, because you see nowadays we all are linked with the computer or our laptop or our mobile. The informal sector, women, especially the women, if you do the study during the COVID-19, it is the digital divide again. That the digital facilities had divided the unorganized sector, informal women, because again they are, deprived of the virtue of such facility, which we are trying to avail. And how the Lifelong Learning Department, through the various government initiative, with the help of the corporates, try to provide them the facilities of training, try to provide them facilities of the social media, the technological media, so that they can further accelerate themselves in financial literacy. Or Dr. Ramal, you talked about the domestic violence. It is because they do not have kind of a legal knowledge. In Hindu kind of thing, we see the working women, we talk to the women, case study, they used to talk, अरे हमारे पति तो परमेश्वर हैं, वो जो कहते हैं वो परमेश्वर की आवाज है. And they continue to suffer the domestic violence because they cannot go against the husband if it is needed. If it is needed, it is because they do not have the legal knowledge. So it is the situation where the financial literacy or the legal literacy or the basic human rights for all the rest two genders can be talked and discussed. That remains the very important paradigm for gender divide, which can be helped for the mainstreaming situation. What is required, that lifelong learning departments can chalk out the plan, can chalk out the various plans in the nearby communities, or through the technology or whatever possible, during the period, to provide them such, kind of a mainstreaming process of the unorganized sector, organized sector women. Or I have seen in Agra, madam, I think in your center, that how the women are getting various kind of a training. So that kind of a community laboratory mostly for women, where these women can come to the times and can get some kind of a skill and training, computer training, all kind of a thing, and they are linked with the society or the world. That is the important kind of a thing. So what I will say, that is possible, that through the internship, through the community engagement of scholars, of students, through the various researches that we are undertake, we can incorporate in gender and development And the new education policy, what is our efforts, madam, as you are aware, that we have introduced in certain university in master degree in lifelong learning, we are also trying to explore the possibility that how the lifelong learning with the very important paper of gender and development can be incorporated separately as undergraduate program in lifelong learning, can also be chipping in the what you call correspondence and distance learning mode, where these things can be incorporated, and also some kind of a choice based credit system. Some issues can be lifelong learning issues can be given with certainly giving importance to gender and development. So the last point that I will say, that I agree with all of you that in spite of the efforts in the 21st century, where the women, the data of literacy has come, when the women are suffering, the unorganized sector women are suffering, having the digital divide, has a lack of financial literacy, legal literacy, human right literacy, how our lifelong learning can work with the national paradigm and the international paradigm, so that whatever the goals of millennium development goals, sustainable social development goals, they should not remain only the slogans, they can be coined into the reality. And whatever the divides in data you quoted, that can again be somehow make up, and some dent can be made in terms of female as the gender and in terms of transgender as one gender. So gender development and lifelong learning, this is why we try to incorporate, and very learned to the professors are here, so I will not like to have talk to much at this juncture. I would like to have Akanksha to have something to be addressed by our guests here. So I will just say thank you here. Thank you. Akanksha, now you can start the question answer, because you do not have the much time.
Yes, sir. If anyone wants to ask any question, they can.
Yes, Akansha. Can I have a few minutes?
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, sure.
Let
Yeah, sure.
introduce yourself also, because guests are here. Yeah.
Yes, sure. Well, so my name is Lind. Basically, I'm doing PhD under the supervision of Professor Rajesh. I'm hailing from Kampopi district in Manipur. And I'm greeting to you, both of you, Professor Lamelu and Professor Purnima, for the insightful inputs. It was quite interesting. Well, I want to share how the adult education, continuing education, lifelong learning, academically, what we contribute. I want to share few of the academics uh, activities, and then ask some questions. Well, so academically, in adult education department in Delhi University, I would say we are creating a resource. We are creating, and we are investing a resource in the departments, because why I say is because we have engaged under the supervision and guidance of Professor Rajesh. There are different scholars engaged in research in different fields, and exclusively two of our scholars are engaged in gender studies, and then some are in psychological perspective, some are in philosophical perspective, some are in employability, some are in voluntary organization. So this is something, the resource we create will someday will be beneficial in the futures. And then we are yet to explore more of the research paper from other universities. I think there is something that adult education contribute academically, and then more to come. So well, very insightful. You stress more on economical equality. So the needs of life learning, what can life learning can contribute for gender development? It was more even it always come to my mind. It was only vocational educations, because nowadays what adult education, since continuing education, lifelong learning, extended education, In fact, the needs of the communities, the needs of the people relies on the income generating courses. So this was something that vocational has to play a vital roles. So it was insightful sharing and information the department can take up in the futures. And then, so what are the courses? What are the curriculums will develop to enhance their skills and knowledge, and then get become employability? I think that is how we empower and encourage women as women's communities. I think that was interesting. So it was really great to hear the inputs. And then since some labs happens, some of the labs happen from the continuing education, national education policy, national education program. There is some lack of continuations. So there are some continuing education. There need to be reevaluated. We need to be reconstruct, reform in order to proceed the total literacy, be it 2020 policy or vocational. Because most of the state resource centers, most of the continuing education, there are some labs between the government sectors and from the non-volunteer involvements. So there is something. This was my MPhil papers with basically from even inside of the Manipur, and then generally there is since from the literature review there is some gaps between the implementation of national adult education program in different parts of the states. So what can the academically, what can the lifelong learning in the future can contribute? So the needs of continuing education and what are the curriculums that need to be implemented? I think this is something that we can highlight and focus more on it. And then there was the idea from I shared from Purima ma'am sharing. And coming to Professor Lamilu, ma'am, it was first meeting to you. It was great that you're from Manipur. Well, I'm from Kangpopi, and then there is some your sharing regarding the crime against women in Manipur. Yes, indeed, Manipur is a place where different cultures and different ethnicities and different peoples, different communities live and settles for unity and diversity. And in fact, the harmonies and then difference and the crimes do exist. Uh, so you have seized the most of the crime that women has faced. We have been sharing the in is also the third position in the state in the country in the crime against women. So my question coming to the later on, because how your papers represents crimes in Manipur. So is it your paper rely on to the entire Manipur, or is it for especially to tribals or especially to the general? So there is something that need to be if it is classified or categorized, I think that will be great. So my coming straight to the question, you have seen most of the suggestions as well as the more on like the reports or the things that happen for the crimes against women. So my question to you is, what can the adult education, lifelong learning in Manipur University can contribute academically for the gender development in the academically as well as for the communities? That was my first question. So I mean, what are the new, as per new education policy? What are the policies that that adult education department in Manipur University can take up? So that was my first question. And the second question is, what are the policies or the plans for the state governments in vis-a-vis to NEP 2020? And then the third question is, what are the problems and issues? What are the problem, constraints, and issues that has been in the papers that you have presented? Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Let me first let me tell you, as per the new policy, the new education policy, we have the state government is not yet decided what to take, what strategy and what new education policy has to be adopted in Manipur, because the new education policy is even in the central government, they have just plan, chalk out the, they just prepare the program for the new education policy, but there will be so many suggestions from all the state government and from all the state government. That is why so many preparation is going on from the education department to recommend some of the suggestion from the Manipur side also. And regarding your question to this adult education department, what academic contribution we can do for the society? Is it?
Yeah.
So,
For
um,
gender and development, what can the adult education life learning in Manipur University can take up?
okay, and as per my what to say presentation in relate with my presentation today, I can just talk out because regarding the gender issue, we have one paper in our syllabus that is a women education, one of the optional paper. And then since we are dealing most of the time with the adult women with the adult women groups, and in Manipur also generally the Department of Adult Education in Manipur University, we have covered almost all the uh, part of Imphal West. That means with the nearest in almost all part of Kanchipur. That is Kanchipur is Manipur University is located in Kanchipur, and then not only not only within the Kanchipur, now we have extended beyond that. For our department was recognized as a full-fledged department in 1996, and then we started opening MA adult education from the year 2004. And since the year 2004, year 2004, there is one paper that is fieldwork in our subject adult education. That fieldwork one paper that is a practical for the student in the that is a field outreach program. So for that, that is 100 paper, 100 for 100 marks. For 100 marks, and what we do is that we send the student the 100 marks. Total 100 marks is only for the field outreach program. Out of four papers in per semester, one paper in the second semester we have field work, and that we have to send it to the student in the field in the field and take up a survey which area we should take up where there is low literacy rate. And then as part of the field report, as part of the survey report, we conduct a adult education program in that adopted area. And now we have almost covered in the Thauban district of Manipur, and also started covering in the Sadar Hill, district of Manipur. So since we cannot go far beyond because we that is a voluntary work from the student, and our department do not spend a single money for those field work for their to and fro for their journey, and also for anything expenditure we don't have to spend for the student. They themselves have to spend for their traveling, and then but at least the what to say reading and the reading kits material were provided by the department. In that way, at least we could help the people to make literate. At least 1 year minimum, we can say 50 adult illiterate made literate in a year. And after that, as a post literacy program, as a continuing education program, and also we can say follow-up program. We used to take up some awareness program and skill development program for those newly literate. we term it as neo-literate in adult literate in lifelong learning. So we used to give them a follow-up program as a skill development program, training, vocational training for 1 month, 2 months, or 6 months. It depends on the from the place where we can conduct. And likewise, and not only that, we also organize different types of program like legal awareness program for the and then legal human rights short-term course for human rights. Different types of program organized for those adult illiterate group or those newly illiterate, and those who are below the 10 years, we used to give them a condensed course and then send them to the mainstream. In that way, we are doing as per our level, at least to try to sense the society.
Yeah, ma'am, that's
So,
great.
so we cannot cover the whole part of Manipur because we are not a government, just a small department with a few capacity students. To that, but since our department have done a lot of work in Manipur University in the field level, and we have made a very good rapport between the community and the university within the between the university and the outside community. This is how we organize the program. Sometimes we call the adult illiterate groups in Manipur University to participate in the literacy program, World Population Day, in order to create them about the population, about the population and or whatever it is. In such a way, we are organizing from our department. And what are the other question? I don't remember.
What are the
It is
problems?
covered, huh? You covered already.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
then-
you almost
You have
cover.
already covered.
Yeah. Yeah.
You asked something, Professor Purnima, ma'am, also.
Yeah, sir, I want to raise one more point. This has been stated earlier by Professor Lamelui, because there is lack of involvement of non-governmental sectors in Manipur, and in general in Northeast as well as in particular in Manipur. Due to lack of involvement and participation of non-government organization, there is a lack of vibrant movement or vibrant reach out community engagement in Manipur, especially in hill areas. This can't be compared with Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, and the rest part of the countries, because when you come to Northeast, it's mostly people are there are people as I mentioned, different diverse culture, diverse people live in hilly areas who are willing to learn, who are not willing to run the development. There are people mindsets in different ways, and then those NGOs who existed, they have no vision and mission. There are people who doesn't lack vision and mission to engage in development field. So this is something academically even I face difficult, and there is most of the academic in the Manipur or in Northeast we face because there is lack of non-governmental sectors participation, and this is the challenge ahead. As a students, we are looking forward and we learn, and then we take it as a challenge. And to conclude my sharing, adult education, lifelong learning, there are the diverse is a diverse discipline. When since there are young scholars who are presented in this webinar, I encourage everyone not to go for the mainstream topic, but it will be good if we take up the challenges, innovations, and something that beneficial for the academic as well as for society. I think all of us can work together, contribute for what can the lifelong learning adolescent can contribute in the national in the international level. Yeah, thank you. That was my point. Thank you.
Thank you. Parinita, some students are there, master degree.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
If you can ask some of you with our guests.
Good evening, ma'am. Good evening, Purnima ma'am. Good evening, Dr. Lamalu, and good evening, Rajesh sir.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Thank you for very rich insights and useful information provided by everyone today evening. Professor Purnima, I have a question for you.
Yes.
I'm just curious to understand that, we always look at the census coming out in terms of only two genders, whether it's the male and the female. So, ma'am, are there any provisions, which aim at actually understanding the census, the population literacy rate from the transgender perspective? Because it's not widely talked about.
Yeah. So right now we are not focusing on transgender in Agra, but one of my research scholar, he is doing research on transgender and he has covered NCR. So it's a very deep and vast study conducted on transgender. So it is not that we are not concerned. I have also written a paper on transgender. It has been published in one book also. So we are very much concerned with transgender as we are concerned with first or second gender.
Yes,
Thank you.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank
No,
you so much.
you asked more. You wanted to ask more. What I wanted
Yes,
to.
if time allows, I have one more question.
No,
Yeah,
sure,
sure.
sure. What I wanted to say, Parinita, that Akanksha and Vishal, I hope they will take the link of the scholar who is working on transgender, and also they will
Yeah, sure.
request the paper of Professor Purnima Jain,
Yeah,
which
sure.
they have to include in review of literature, because perhaps you introduced that two of our scholars, ma'am. I hope they are present here. Akanksha is there.
Okay.
Vishal is there
Yes, sir,
working
I'm
on
here.
transgender. So
Okay.
Akanksha is working on the mainstreaming of transgender through family and community,
Mhm.
and Vishal is working through their participation in right to education now. And since there is a new education policy,
Yeah.
that is very important kind of a thing. So Parinita, please continue one more question. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for informing, because these are things that we get to know only through a webinar. And
Yes.
it is very helpful if we, get a copy of that. So that will be really helpful.
So I'll
Certainly.
Ma'am,
Hmm.
yes, ma'am. Another question is that, ma'am, in your perspective, how do you think we can actually, the role of civil society organization to bring about gender equality so that, it helps in the overall development as well?
See, gender equality or gender justice is not concern of only triple LE department, right? It is concern of everyone. Every educated or literate person should be concerned with the development of gender, whether it is transgender. So for this, we have to change the mindset of the people also, because in educated in rich families also we see that there is gender gap, gender difference. So why this gender gap? It is not only it is not only education which is responsible for this gender inequality. It is not only class which is responsible for gender inequality. It is the upbringing of the person which is responsible for gender inequality, because I've told you also that gender is socially constructed. So from the beginning, from the family, a child is taught that this is male, this is female, this is female's task, this is male's task. So this type of socialization, this type of education should be eliminated from the society. So what is the need of the society? To start gender sensitization or gender justice from the primary level, so that these people, when they grow up, they will not be doing any injustice or any violence against women. As Lamilu has said, there is violence is everywhere. It is available, it is there in the present in the rich families also, upper class also, it is present in the lower class also, it is present in the general category also, it is present in the reserve category also, because it is man folk, because of patriarchy. What is patriarchy? It is the male domination lineage. Ownership of property, ownership of right is in the hands of male folk. So this is how they derive their power to exploit the women. So what we need to do? We have to socialize. We have to change the mindset. We have to change our mindset even. Even the women have to change their mindset that we are not inferior to men. We are not superior to men even. Because gender justice does not mean that women are superior to men or they should be treated superior. Both are equal. Or the third gender, or the transgender, they are also equal to male or female. Why they are denied their rights, why they are marginalized, why they are segregated from the society, we have to change our mindset. When a transgender comes, we immediately say, oh, ये तो हिजड़ा है, ये तो यूनिक है, तो इससे दूर रहो. Why?
Why to keep distance from such people? They are also human beings. They are part of our life. They are part of society. So we have to change our mindset. We have to change the mindset of public. This is the first thing which needs to be done in order to bring gender development.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, you are very right. And also, this makes me think about two things. One is that we always start looking at feminism in the negative light.
Yeah,
Because the way you said, we don't look at it to be a step towards equality, but women should be superior.
yeah.
So that is also a very interesting thing that
Yeah.
you brought about. So thank you so much. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. So I'll share my paper and I'll give the
Yes.
reference to Professor Rajesh and he
Sure,
will
sure.
like to.
Once
Yes.
we'll get an email, I will share with you. This is
Sure.
the opportunity, Parinita. We thought that a certain kind of innovation is required. So this is a innovation in our paper also, that those who are the expert in our field, they should be invited through the webinar and their perspectives can also be taken. This is why in gender and development aspect, we wanted to add that, and you know that how it remained meaningful. Anybody else like to have something?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Shivam, you want to talk?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you,
Please.
ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for briefing. And sir, I have a question for you, sir.
Yeah, yeah.
Sir, at the starting of the class, sir, you were explaining about the something, sir, report of United Nations Population Fund of Gender Development Report, sir.
Yeah, yeah.
Sir, sir, my question is, sir, according to a data of sir UNFPA, sir, in six every three girls is missing, and in India, sir, in every three, one girl is missing, sir. So, sir, my question is, sir, this data and this socio-causes, sir, directly related to, sir, also, sir, illiteracy and other child marriages and some other causes. Because, sir, one side, when we see below the age of 5, every one girl is missing in India. So, sir, how, sir, gender and development can contribute to this? And for this, sir, how can transfer something we can? Because, sir, if we cannot do our something in that area, so how we can achieve also, sir, literacy and another transformation for women and other gender development, sir?
You have asked a very good question. I would request to have something from you, madam, either Professor Purnima or Dr. Lamalu, ma'am. Hello, I think your voice is not coming, ma'am. Unmute.
Yeah.
Unmute.
So
Yeah.
can you repeat the question because I didn't listen to it very
Yes,
carefully?
yes, you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, ma'am. Sir, ma'am, my question is, according to data of UNFPA, United
Mhm.
Nations Population Fund, report is in 6, every one girl is missing. And when we see India, in 3, every one girl is missing. So, ma'am, when we see at the age of 5, if when one girl will miss, then how we will compare gender development and literacy and other transformations in gender development? Because when we see start era, we also found lot of inequalities and drawbacks. So how we can compare this cause, this socio cause, to some other cause like illiteracy, child marriage? So how gender and development can contribute to there for do something in that area for means, ma'am.
Okay. So see, gender development refers to bridging the gap between male and female, basically. Okay.
Yeah,
So missing of a child, whether it is a male child or it is a female child, is a security and safety issue. So it does not matter whether women are committing more suicide or male are committing more suicide. There are different factors for committing suicides or for their deaths or for their missing. So it is an issue of security and safety, not the development issue. Because we cannot say that there is no gender development. That's why there are more girls which are picked up, okay, or which are kidnapped. So we cannot relate this kidnapping or the missing of a girl child with gender development because gender development means that it is
no,
development
sorry
is
to interrupt, ma'am.
yeah.
No, I'm not talking about when kidnapping. I'm talking about just age of 5
Voice
to
is
a person
voice
who
is
is
The
breaking.
voice is breaking, Shivam.
so.
Huh.
Okay, okay.
Voice is breaking.
Hello.
Uh,
Hello, ma'am. Hello.
uh,
Hello.
if slowly you can put forward your point of view, Shivam.
Okay, okay, okay.
Uh, is there any where you can write your question? There must be certain place, a very
Uh,
small you can just write so that others can see.
uh,
Is it there, Akanksha?
Yes,
yeah.
sir. Yes, sir. You can message the
Um,
question
I'm
as well,
audible.
Yeah,
Shivam.
I'm audible. I'm audible. I'm audible.
yeah. I think better.
Yeah, yeah. So, ma'am, I'm asking, I'm not, ma'am, talking about kidnapping or other socio-cause. I'm just saying when a family or person knows this is girl, then below the age of 5, she killed 2 women. So, if in the starting of era, she will kill 2 women at the just age of below 5, how we will work in gender development and for other literacies and other, I'm asking this, ma'am. I'm not talking
So
about, ma'am,
yeah, yeah. Right, right. I understood now. So whether it is female feticide or
Female
it is
feticide. Yeah,
infanticide, yeah, infanticide. So this is again gender injustice or gender inequality. So for this, we have to educate the masses. We have to change the value system because most of the people they also kill their female child or female fetus because they feel that our salvation will not be done by the girl child. So they kill it. And second issue is dowry. They feel that we are not able to give the dowry in the marriage of our daughter, so we'll rather kill her. So next is family pressure. Like the in-laws or the parents also, they feel that if women giving birth to a boy is treated much higher, given better status as compared to women giving birth to a girl. So this type of stereotypes we have to abolish from the society. This type of prejudices we have to abolish. This type of values we have to abolish from the society, and we have to cite the examples of successful women or the independent women or the happy family where women are given higher status or equal respect to a man. So this is only a change in the mindset of the culture or the values of the people which will give equal status to women, and then there will be gender justice also. Women also has equal right to survive, to live in the society, to get every opportunity which a man is given. So this type of education, this type of socialization, this type of training is to be given to the masses, especially to uneducated or weaker section or backward sections of society where this type of phenomenon or this type of incidents are taking place more as compared to the other places.
yeah. Thank you, Dr. Lamalu.
thank you,
Also
ma'am.
want to add something, Dr. Lamalu. Is it okay? Somebody else?
Any question?
Any question? Anybody? Rameswar, Pranita. I think now you must be exhausted because we thought 5 to 6 and we are reaching 6:30.
Yes, sir.
Akanksha, it remained very good. Shivam, you had your answer also that Madam said that women literate a family. If you wanted to literate the
Yes,
family, then the issue will be gradually resolved, where all stakeholders said that need to be empowered at that level. Yeah, yeah. I think
okay, sir. Yes.
it is highly useful that Professor Purnima Jain, Dr. Lamalu had a very wonderful discussion and interaction, and I think support of Akanksha and Rameswar. So Akanksha, kindly provide vote of
Yes, sir.
thanks. Len, you had
Yes,
also
sir.
a very good question. Yeah.
Yes, sir. It was very enlightening experience to hear you, Purnima ma'am, and I would like to thanks to all of you for your patience for listening to us today. It was very wonderful session today. Uh, I would like to give a special thanks to Professor Purnima Jain and Ramalu for extracting time from their busy schedule and for sharing their views.
Thank you. Thank you all, especially Professor Jain, Dr. Lamalu, that you are linked from Manipur and Agra. And thanks to this webinar culture also, we will continue to that culture. Rameswar, thanks that you are giving the support. Akansha coordinating, Len asking. Parinita, we thank everybody for joining in this session. And now I realize the importance of inviting the guest on the aspect of gender and development. Thanks a lot once again, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
This
thank
is also one of the effect of COVID, positive
Yeah.
effect of COVID.
Yeah.
We have been organizing webinars without any investing any money.
Certainly, having our own cup of tea.
Yeah.
Madam, ministry is also doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Ministry is also that you take your own cup of tea and then link with.
COVID has made us all independent.
And I hope now, ma'am, this will be continued.
Yeah.
This will be the order of the day. There are some
Yeah.
advantages also. We
Yeah.
continue. Yeah. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks a lot, ma'am. You are
Thanks.
very wonderful. Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.